Welcome everyone. This is a whole new series of clips that we're going to teach you how to do things. It's not just about how you might do some of the key strategies in nutrition farming, but it's about why you might choose to do some of these things. And we're going to begin with something that personally has become one of my favorites, is this concept of teaching you how to make your own inexpensive living fertilizers. And it's a really important creature that we're about to talk about. We're going to talk about one of my favorites, a beneficial fungi called Trichoderma. Now, I'm assuming that many of you have heard of this creature before, but it's an organism that burrows into the plant roots, sort of like mycorrhizal fungi, and the plant thinks it's been invaded, and it produces a whole range of protective compounds to wall off this invader, and in the process of creating those biochemicals, that boosts plant immunity. But this organism does more than boost plant immunity. It also is a predatory fungi that is actually known to attack and kill up to 30 different disease organisms. So wonderful concept for chemical-free disease protection is to introduce Trichoderma into your root zone. It'll stay there for the whole season and give you that protection, but it does other things. It is a really, really strong cellulose digester, so it can build humus in your soil. It's very, very good at solubilizing phosphorus, and it produces several biochemicals that stimulate root growth. So you've got a really valuable package with Trichoderma. And it might cost you, the kind of application rates might cost $60 or $70 a hectare, but we're going to teach you how you can do this for much less than that. And it's an idea that I stole or borrowed from the Filipino Ag Department, because they, in that scenario, are teaching their farmers, and they're very, very keen on the idea of adding Trichoderma at planting with NPK fertilizers. And there's very good research showing that it magnifies the effect of those fertilizers, whether you put it on the seed or whether you liquid inject the microbes at that point. And so on their website, as a best practices concept, they teach you how to multiply Trichoderma to pull the price right down and make it more cost effective for more people. So we're going to teach you how to do that today. And we're beginning with our Trichoderma product. You need to have an inoculant, obviously, to start this process. And this is a tremendously popular Nutri-Tech product called Tricho-Shield. Now, it involves 3 key Trichoderma. One of them, of course, you've heard of, Trichoderma harzianum, the most popular of the sort of corrective organisms that's utilized globally. Trichoderma keningi and Trichoderma viride, 3 very well researched, very, very effective organisms. So Tricho-Shield is the name of the product. And what we're going to do, you can see here in the background, we've taken a pellet, we've put a star picket on each corner, we've wrapped chicken wire around that and left an opening, and we'll explain what that's about. We're going to produce our own Trichoderma compost, something that's only going to take about a month to be completed. And to do that, we're going to combine, normally it would be straw, but we couldn't find straw, so we're just using Rhodes grass hay, but we're using hay and cow manure. Now, ideally, that cow manure should come from somewhere where it hasn't had a lot of chemical introduction. It doesn't have to be organic, but something which hasn't just had a anti-parasite drug applied or whatever, because that can affect the Trichoderma component. But we're going to take cow manure and hay, equal amounts. We're going to mix them together into this barrow full of water, and we're going to add, before then, we're going to add the Trichoderma. So we're going to add about half of this packet to make our cubic meter of Trichoderma. So we're going to add that in. Perhaps you can give a little bit of a stir around there. This is Karl. Karl's going to help me. He's my personal assistant. He's going to help with this, and it's going to be much appreciated help. Now we've got lots of spores in there now. We're going to mix it up, and we're going to add, interestingly, typically molasses is thought of as a bacterial food, but Trichoderma really like molasses. So we're going to add some molasses into that mix, which will help bind it all together. And then we're going to mix in the barrow. We're going to mix, because it's pretty hard to mix them together. We just did a little trial. We're going to mix this cow manure and the hay together into a slurry within that barrow. And Karl's about to do that now. So we'll make it the entire thing just a barrow full of slurry. And then we're going to fork that slurry from the barrow. Once it's been totally soaked, the spores are all over every piece of hay and every piece of cow manure, so you've got a good starting point. Now, the reason that you're going to utilize that pellet with the chicken wire is that you want oxygen. You get an oxygen from beneath, you get an oxygen from the top, you get an oxygen from all sides, and it's a very, very quick process. We'll see that the Trichoderma sort of greenish grey hyphae begins spreading over this pile very shortly after it's completed. Within a day or two, you'll see the Trichoderma moving across the pile, and within a month, it will be a cubic metre of Trichoderma compost. So you just took $50 and turned it into several $1,000s worth of inoculum. And we'll teach you in another clip how best to extract, and something called a compost extract. We'll talk about how to extract that Trichoderma for you to utilise as a foliar spray, liquid injection, or to fertigate it around the roots of your crops. So Karl's mixing the manure, the cow manure, and he's mixed some hay. So this is the first little batch that we're doing here, just to demonstrate the idea. He's going to mix it all together now and create a slurry. It'll be a bit of a messy process by the look of it. And this is a really, really good inoculum that drenches every little part of that slurry is drenched in a spore, and that's what allows this very quick breakdown once the Trichoderma go to work. When they have the molasses and the cow manure as a food source, and of course the hay as a food source, they love that fibrous material, and they go to work and begin turning that into a dark coloured compost at the end of a month. Very quick process. It looks like a reasonable kind of mixing there. Now you can start. So now that he's sort of got a really nice drenching of the spores all over the hay, we begin the process of forking that into our little bin. You can see the manure and hay mixed in nicely there. That's good. Now we're only going to do one layer just to demonstrate the concept for you. We won't complete the entire process, but normally you'd fill that, which effectively gives you a cubic metre of Trichoderma compost at the end of this 4-week process. But this will give you the idea of how it's done. And you can see it's all nicely drenched, nicely wet down. You won't need to wet it again. It'll last and stay moist for the full month. So that's the first layer. And then we repeat that process layer by layer till we've filled up and created our cubic metre. The amount of inoculum that we've put in there is sufficient. 1/2 kilo is sufficient for a full cubic metre of Trichoderma compost. And as I said, in 2 or 3 days' time, we'll see the spores start moving over it. We'll complete this process off screen and make a bit more of it. But basically, what you've created is a cubic metre from 1/2 kilo. So you've created a, theoretically, it's going to break down a little smaller, but probably 700 or 800 kilos from 1/2 kilo, which is a massive, savings in terms of the spores that you've created that you can now utilize. Wonderful thing to add into potting mix. Trichoderma loves potting mix. It gives you this problem-free nursery scenario because it controls most of the diseases that become a problem in the nursery situation. Wonderful for liquid inject, wonderful as a seed treatment when I will teach you how to extract this. You can brew, but it's quite difficult to brew Trichoderma. So an extraction process is what we'll teach in one of the subsequent clips that will help you in this whole process of how can you reduce cost, how can you become more effective, how can you become more profitable on this nutrition farming journey. Thanks for watching.